In this video, I will be sharing with you my top 10 most worn fragrances of 2023 in what has been a considerably rocky year for my fragrance journey. I won't bore you too much, but at one point I was actually considering quitting being the fragrance apprentice and quitting fragrance altogether, which I documented in my video, The Truth About Fragrances, Addiction and Attraction. But actually doing that and sort of getting that all off of my chest actually led me back into adoring and loving fragrances, and it turned out to be quite the happy ending. Not the sort of Chinese massage therapy happy ending, but I don't know, more like the happy ending of, I don't know, the first Harry Potter film, where he's waving goodbye from Hogwarts and he's going back to his when he's waving off, isn't it? When he's waving off his friends, waving to all the Hogwarts kids, and because he's happy because he's going home back to the Dursleys, where he'll be locked under the stairs and presumably tortured and maybe even molested or something. The ending of that first film's pretty dark. Anyway, honourable mention, Millésime Impérial. Look, whether I'm in fragrance or I'm not in fragrance, whether I'm interested in fragrance, whether I'm not, whether I'm uploading or I'm not, this will always be something that I'm constantly and consistently wearing because I just love it so much. It means too much for me to not wear, and that's why this is an honourable mention, because it's not fair. Because it's sort of like an omnipotent presence in my fragrance rotation. It's like Q out of Star Trek, you know, it's an omnipotent figure in my fragrance world. So yeah, I wore this. Yeah, no shit, I wore this, you know what I mean? Number 10, and this is a recent fragrance that's been entered into my collection. This is Into the Wild by Static Olfactive. This is a phenomenal fragrance. One of the most endearing and original fragrances that I've smelt this year. But this smells to me like you're walking in a forest, and yes, there are indeed some pine trees, but there's a lot of different trees and there's a lot of different woods and there's a lot of different bark and smells from the forest and from the woodlands. It's a early spring day, you get the mountain fresh air, it's a very beautiful moment. It's a very, very beautiful and breathtaking moment. And then you find a washing machine that's on a cycle. And then it stops, and then it opens, and the fabric conditioner and the bleachy smells and soapy smells from that come out and coat the beautiful forest. Now, that is probably not the most environmentally friendly picture that I've just painted for you, but that is what this smells like. A truly unique and interesting and original fragrance that I've been wearing the hell out of it for the past month. In fact, this has been consistent in my rotation for the past few weeks. Okay, number 9, this is going to be no surprise to anyone. This is Tom Ford Noir Extreme Parfum. The Christmas and horse poop smell, as I call it. I've already talked about this a lot of times. It's probably the bigger comment is, why is it so low on the list? And as amazing it is, and as brilliant as it is, I have tried to wear it, but it's such a special occasion, and I'm actually in here most of the time doing videos and doing fragrances. I haven't been able to go out as much as I wanted to in December, because I am doing this, mostly because of the fragrance consultation. But yeah, I haven't really been able to go out that much. And that's fine, I've got work to do and the hustle is real, but you know, on special occasions I have been trying to wear this out and about. But it's a very special fragrance, it's a very particular fragrance, and I don't really want to spoil it that much. So I do wear it, I wear it a lot, but not as much as perhaps I would like. Number 8, again, not too many surprises on this list, of course, you've heard me mention about them, so that means I've been thinking about them a lot, which means that I've been wearing them a lot, and that is Prada Amber Pour Homme. A fantastic clean smell, shaving foam soap cleanly smell. If you're somebody who really enjoys cleanliness, then that's going to work for you. Again, a little bit lower down on the list than you'd think, but it's so clean and so vibrant. And to be completely honest, I rediscovered this a little bit too late in the year. In fact, I'll tell you openly that the person who actually got me back into this was somebody on a fragrance consultation. This gentleman by the name of Luke, he's one of the most positive members of Patreon gang as well. I was talking to him, I was having a fragrance consultation with him, and he said, I really like sort of clean, soapy, powdery, feminine fragrances, and I was like, dude, you should totally try Prada Amber Pour Homme. That sounds totally like what you'd be interested in. And he smelt it and he loved it, and he, even though I'd recommended it to him, he got me back into this. in pretty much like the middle of autumn, and at that point it's a little bit late in the day or late in the year to be wearing this kind of thing, but it is just a clean, powdery soap full of goodness, and it's really majestic and very wearable. And I think that, you know, it's a little bit too cold to be wearing this right now, but in the springtime, you know, this could jump to #1 on my list, because this is such a forgotten gem, such an underappreciated and underrated gem, because, you know, Jeremy, when he was at the height of his power, he was talking about Prada, he was talking about Prada, but of course he was talking about Prada L'Homme, and I think that this thing kicks Prada L'Homme's arse. Instead, what I was wearing in spring and summer was this, and another fragrance that is coming on later. Have a guess which one that is. And this is Sunset Riot by All Saints. I didn't talk about this as much this year, although I was still wearing it considerably. What a scent, what a fantastic scent, because I actually thought it was discontinued, but it's not. Well, it's a little bit harder to come by, but you can still get it on All Beauty for, I think, £37 or something for 100 milliliter. You can see here, I'm just showing you that I have used a tremendous amount of this fragrance. Amazing. Baccarat Rouge 540, candy floss smell, no doubt, but there's a piercing, warming lemon, citrus in here with almost like strawberry. That's probably not strawberry, it's like an olfactive illusion of the candy floss and the more linen kind of smell in here. But this is one hell of a fragrance, one of the best casual fragrances that you can wear. I really think it's absolutely amazing, and I've loved wearing it consistently for the past few years. I'm coming to the end of my bottle. I will be buying a backup bottle of it, no doubt. I don't want this story and this journey to end, but it's just so wearable, and that's one of the fun things about this list in particular is, you know, you're going to see a lot of fragrances that I definitely like, but maybe not necessarily my favorite fragrances, my most favorite fragrances in the world. You'll see some of them, but this really is down to wearability and what environments and what scenarios you can put yourself into with these fragrances. And Sunset Riot by All Saints, I can put myself into almost any situation wearing this, whether it be formal, whether it be going out, whether it be just having a walk in the park. Next fragrance, okay, so this was a surprise for me. Linguine L'Homme, Yves Saint Laurent. Boy, am I late to the party with this one. I've loved this year. I loved it. You know, I bought this in 2019 mostly because I thought, oh, I don't have Linguine L'Homme, what kind of a collector am I? And I bought it mostly because at that point Jeremy was still going on about it. It was one of the most hyped fragrances in the world, and I just was like, just have it more for videos. You know what I mean? Just so that you can make videos about it. And of course this is in this video. But this year, back in March or April, I just randomly sprayed it, and I thought, god damn, that is sexy, that is vibrant. I actually feel as though there's like a pistachio nut, like there's a tangy scent, pistachio nut, chocolate, cardamom. It is a sexy fragrance, man, and this year has just been the year where I've really enjoyed Linguine L'Homme a hell of a lot. Okay, so this one, I've been wearing the hell out of this. You know about that. You can see that I've already put a little dent in here. This is Tabaccolor by Dior. You know, I bought this about 2.5 months ago, and I don't think I've put it down really since. I think it's just the novelty of smelling tobacco used in a unique way that is not trying to smell like tobacco vanille. Another fragrance I think that is very original. It wasn't released this year, but I presume that the year that it was released, it was considered a very original fragrance. Yeah, that leafy, dry to the bone tobacco in here. Spicy, a little bit of vanilla, tiny sliver of amber, just keeping everything together, holding it all nicely like cement in a way. But the building blocks is that spicy tobacco. Very interesting, very confident. Some people might find this a little bit old. Some people might find this a little bit mature, or too mature. I don't know if I would have liked this maybe a few years ago, but right now where I am with my collection, with my taste, it's just a banger and I love it. Really should check it out. It's an amazing scent. And if you are tired of tobacco being uninteresting, or always feeling as though it's a double act between tobacco and vanilla and, you know, Christmassy smells, then I would highly recommend that you try out Tabaccolor. It is worth the price. Another great release from this year, La Malle Elixir. So I bought this late because and I was speaking to somebody, I was speaking to Jim actually, Jim R on Consultations, and that was an amazing experience because he's been commenting on my videos since basically the first day that I uploaded. And he was like, I'm not going to try that Lamel elixir because, you know, the Lamel fragrances suck. And I was like, look, I know. And I said that to myself. I thought that the Lamel flankers were done for. I thought it was a dead brand. And then, this came out and everybody was talking about this. And I was like, it's like the boy who cried wolf at this point. And I smelt this, and the first thing I thought when I smelt it was, oh my God, they did it. Like, do you have any idea how long people have been waiting for this? Like years, like 2 decades, essentially, at this point. Nearly 3 decades people have been waiting for, a really, truly good Lamel contender that equals actual Lamel. I love it. Lavender, chocolate vanilla, but that lavender is earthy, man. That lavender is really earthy and ground shattering, and an amazing fragrance. And if you're a fan of the Lamel brand, you should totally check it out. Okay, we're getting down to the top 3. These fragrances I have been wearing the absolute ever-loving shit out of this year. I've loved them. These have been my daily drivers. If you've been around me, you'll recognize these fragrances. So this is Oud Paleo by Diptyque. Not a lot of fans of this fragrance, for multiple reasons actually. Well, 2 reasons. It's either not good enough, it's not hard enough, or it's too soft. It's either not hard enough, or it's too oudy, it's too much. What I've realized is that I'm not the biggest fan of oud fragrances, but this is a smoothened oud, a great unique take on rose, actually, similar to Oud Isfahan, which is a really smooth, like cool hand Luke type fragrance. That is as smooth as it can be. This has got a few more ridges. This has got a few more peaks and valleys in it. But the rose is almost almost bitter, almost soured, the rose in here with that oud, and that just gives it a really interesting and captivating scent profile. But I really like oud when it's tame and when it's calm. But this is a tame oud, but the notches have gone up a little bit. It's a little bit over what I'd usually want in an oud fragrance, but it works to my style. And the rose combination, look, oud and rose is as old as the hills, right? But this did it for me because I think that it was a far more controlled version of oud and rose, and a far more compelling version of oud rose than I'm used to, and I love it. And just it's a fun thing to wear and very enjoyable to wear. Number 2, checks in the post, Zaharoff Tabak. This has quickly become one of my favorite fragrances that I've ever owned. And obviously I did the Judd Zaharoff paid for this video jokey thing, but seriously, this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The thing that does let this down, and there is a problem with it, and that is the projection and longevity. I just don't get what I want out of it with the performance. I feel as though that's lacking. Maybe I could ring George up and I could say to him, could you please reformulate this so that it becomes stronger? But I love it. I think it's the CEO of Christmas. It is the Tobacco Vinny sort of DNA, but it's cleaned up, it's refined, it's sleeker. It's a very, very streamlined and professional fragrance. I'm actually going to be moving into a new office for Fragrance Apprentice and for Effortless Pictures in the new year, and this is the kind of shit that I want to wear when I'm in that office, because it is such a professional smell. And for something to smell so professional and so in the office and at work, whilst having the sweeter tones of tobacco and vanilla, I think is quite the achievement. Amazing. But my number 1 fragrance that I wore this year, the fragrance that I consistently wore the most, my most worn fragrance of 2023, and it was a shock to me when I thought about it, and I was like, oh my God, it's this. It is Rule of 72. I wasn't that into fragrances at the beginning of the year. I went to Essence, and to make my point with this, Rule of 72 is stunning. It's my most worn, and no shade on it, but this is kind of like interlude. This is kind of like ombre leather. So again, the points for this continue with the originality. With that being said, what a fragrance. It is that ombre leather, clean leather DNA, but there's so much more going on because there's an injection of greenery in here like a nice summer meadow injected into the dark and usually foreboding scent DNA of ombre leather. I've said this before, to me it smells as though you're in a stone hut, stone cabin, and it's kind of cold and mysterious inside, but outside is a beautiful summer meadow, and it's the contrast of those two things that are amazing and highly, highly wearable. An incredibly wearable fragrance. I don't know if it's my favorite fragrance of the year necessarily. It's one of them, most definitely. Top 3, no doubt. But I've been wearing this so much because every day I'm just like, I just want to smell like Willow 72. That wearability and that sustainability and the fact that I do feel as though this represents me is really what makes this work. Anyway, those were my top 10 most worn fragrances of 2023. I want to know what you've been wearing this year as well. Thanks so much. If you want to support me, join Patreon gang, and I'll see you on the Discord. I'm the Fragrance Prince. Thank you. Bye.